start today's class by having what I've named the grandmother experience. And so we're actually going to, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or however you want to go into an internal space. And we're going to connect in with our great grandmother, even your great great grandmother, if you can reach her and feel her on your maternal side. So we're going to start to picture her hands first and foremost. You can picture your grandmother's hands, your great grandmother's hands, or your great great grandmother's hands. And we're going to think about the type of work that she did. What was the essence of her life? What was her day-to-day like? What kind of work did she do? What kind of struggles did she have? What kind of food did she eat? All of this is informing her microbiome. So your great great grandmother has a microbiome, and she is living with this microbiome, and she becomes pregnant. And her baby, your great grandmother, grows in her womb and acquires a little bit of her microbiome. And when she's born, she takes a big mouthful of air as she goes through the birth canal, and your great grandmother is born with your great 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 grandmother's microbiome. Now, I want to picture your great grandmother's life. What kind of things was she doing? What was her day-to-day like? This is probably around the 1920s, the turn of the century, a little bit later. We're starting to have industrialization. People are moving more from agriculture work into the cities. And massive amounts of people are really making this urban trek. We're starting to see some processed foods. We're starting to see pharmaceutical medicine come into the stage. So now we have your great grandmother. She gets pregnant. She's working with her hands every day. What's informing her environment? She has her baby through the birth canal. That baby takes a big breath of microbes, and she inherits your great grandmother's microbiome. And now your grandmother has her life, and she's living and she's breathing and she's working in her environment. Maybe she has decided that she's going to take the birth control pill because there's a new medicine around, and this birth control pill is offering her a freedom that she's never had before. So she takes this pill, and a little bit of her microbiome is degraded. And her job, no longer is she a farmer or working in her garden, because she has to make a little bit more money. So she's going into the factories, and she's picking up a whole new landscape of microbes there. She's working hard and she's dealing with these challenges. She's still eating pretty good food because we haven't had too much disruption, but we're starting to really feel the push of microwaved easy dinners. It's coming in, and she births your mother. And now your mother has her own life. She grows up as a little girl doing her things, all the things that she does, and she also gets on the pill. So we see another level of the microbiome degradation happening. And then she has some chronic ear infections, and so she gets antibiotics. And the antibiotics are new on the market. So she's getting antibiotic, and her microbiome. So she grows up feeling a little bit like she has some leaky gut. Processed foods are really pushing now, and they're commonplace. They're actually promoted as a way for mothers to save time. So she has a little bit degraded microbiome, and then she has you. And you grow up and you're eating, likely, if you're like me, a standard American diet. All foods all around the world, especially in countries like America, are processed, are stripped of their nutrients because we have a degraded soil. We have more chemical use every day. And then now you're an adult and you have your baby. And so that microbiome is now passed on to your baby. And really, that whole story is just about how the microbiome can degrade over time. Of course, we have now the use of chemical pesticides that have been everywhere. We have glyphosate, which has invaded all of our waterways. This is an agricultural chemical. It's actually an antifungal that was used prolific, like profoundly in the 90s. It's still used today, and it's gotten in all of our waterways. And you can look at maps and how this is connected with rates of cancer and obesity and diabetes, because it's degraded our microbiome. And your microbiome has many, many functions. So I took you through that exercise so that you can understand the intergenerational impacts of our microbiome.